Friends, lovers, and all of the others, it is another episode of Pod from the Bunker. My name is Kev from the Bunker, of course, and if you are watching this on YouTube, you can watch these live on Twitch. Today I have a wonderful Twitch moderator, Twitch streamer, and all-around great guy, very creative fellow on the stream today. He does some moderating for some musicians that we all know and love and that are on the podcast and have been on the podcast. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about his project called Pennsylvania, which is one of the most creative names I've ever heard. I love it. I think it's a chicken coop project of sorts. His name is AxsDeny, and it's AXS, AxsDeny. I will bring up everything for him when we're in there. Right now, all of my socials are popping up on the bottom of the screen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Comment any questions you might have for Access, and I will make sure that he does get those questions as well. If you check out my links below in the YouTube video in the description, there are links for my merch, there are links for Patreon, there are links for my everything. So check all the links out, and I will also have links available for AxsDeny in the description of the YouTube video as well. Right now, if you're in chat, you can use Command Guest to get those. And I will have my moderators likely do the old shout out for @AxsDeny. Boom. We're breaking the fourth wall. We're live on Twitch. I'm recording a YouTube video. This is how we do it. So thank you for being here. Without further ado, let's bring in the man himself, Mr. AxsDeny. And there he is. How you doing, my man?
What's going on, everybody? Hey, thanks for coming over. Thanks for having me, Kev. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the raid as well. I appreciate you bringing your friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we started a little late there, so who's telling how many came over? But the more the merrier.
All good. So this actually goes live on YouTube, and I think one of the things I like to talk about is the Twitch universe because it is such a different universe, and I know that you're heavily involved in that and stuff like that. And as we can see, we have moderators in our chat right now. There's a lot of swords going on, and I know that you moderate yourself and you stream yourself. So can you tell me what the difference for you between being a moderator and being a streamer is, and how that helps you in each capacity?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question, isn't it?
I want you to talk.
So, yeah, moderating is a fascinating thing. Most people that have modded before do it for love of the people that they are moderating for. They are fans of the person or friends of the person or both. And they believe in what they're doing and they love what they're doing and they want to help out in some way or another. And that being said, almost, I would say 99.999% of them are volunteers.
Absolutely.
And they take the time out of their day, lots of time out of their day and their week and their months and their years in order to give back to the streamers that they believe in and want to see succeed. So that perspective, I think, informs what I think it's important that streamers understand what mods do for them. And I get that because I do mod in a bunch of places. And not being a big streamer, not someone who's raking in a ton of cash, I'm not in that 0.0001% where I can pay moderators to do something, but, we do our best to, recognize them and give back where we can and support them in whatever they're doing. I think that's important to, Twitch is a real community. And I think the community aspect of it is what makes Twitch different from the other platforms that do streaming. There's all sorts of streaming out there. YouTube is trying to grow theirs into a Twitch-like community. It's not there yet. It might be at some point, but it's not there yet. There's IG Live, there's TikTok, there's all sorts of stuff out there that does live streaming. But for some reason, the way Twitch is constructed, it's a different beast, and it has really created these circles of folks that have become friends, especially over the past 2.5 years or so, in these odd times that we found ourselves in, where we are sitting in front of the computer more and more just to make, musicians like yourself, trying to make ends meet or, replace gigs that, fell apart during all of that. So, it's the love of the game, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, I am all about, interacting with other people. And that's one thing that I lost in the pandemic. I'm an extrovert with ADHD. So I got locked in. I'm a manager of a software team. So I got locked in a basement, basically, for my basement for 2.5 years, or
I'm the
of all
same.
this. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I think it was 9 months into the pandemic, it's like I'm going to stream, and it started out with me just like streaming old school Nintendo games,
Nice.
playing like Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Super Mario Brothers and Contra and stuff like that. Because like I'm going to play games because it's like 10 p.m. at night, and a couple friends a couple fellow Twitch moderators or community members were like, hey, that's cool, I remember this game. And that's how it started.
Right.
And then it kind of snowballed into a whole community of folks that have just stuck around, and it's great to see the folks that have been through the whole thing. It's really fascinating to watch. But back to your original point, like the difference between streaming and being the moderator. Like the moderator is part of the individual community, but the streamer, and not saying this about myself, anybody else, is the one that brings that community together.
Right.
And then you start seeing those especially within Twitch, you start seeing those Venn diagrams of overlay where this community also belongs to this community,
Right.
and so on. And you can follow that train. And eventually it's funny because you'll see it circle around. It's like going to Disney World. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's like going to Disney World and meeting someone from your neighborhood when you are in a random stream. You're like, what the hell? What are you doing over here? Like, why are you watching like Venus World or somebody like that?
Mm-hmm.
I ran into Move and Flow over in Venus World one day. I'm like, I had no idea you watched her. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we're like, we've completed the cycle of Venn diagrams where the overlay is we're right in the middle. So it's a fascinating thing to watch.
Yeah, you started with moderation, and was that before the pandemic even started? You did some moderating on the side, or where did that it was all after the pandemic started?
Yeah, I mean, I have moderated so I've been doing internet stuff since 1993. So I'm real early in the game. Back when I was using a 2400 baud modem to dial long distance to bulletin board systems in Baltimore because we didn't have anything local.
Holy.
And it cost 240 bytes per second.
Yeah.
So and that was like you were just like an admin on a little board or whatever. And then it became like the old forums. We would prop up forums for video games or whatever. And that was a matter of not being a moderator, but just being an administrator to a community.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it always comes back to community. It doesn't matter what it is. I've always enjoyed being around people and with people and, cliques and sets of people that are interested in similar things.
Well,
but
also,
I wasn't a Twitch mod until the fall of 2020, and that would have been the first time I was moderated.
Right. Did you stream before that?
I did not. It wasn't until January. Actually, my first stream was on Christmas Day of 2020.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's memorable.
It was just like on a whim too. It was late. It was late night. It was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, let's see what this is about. I downloaded OPS and started screwing around with it, and it's like, let's see what I can do. And it was it was real janky and weird, but and then I started refining, and by February I had a decent setup. And the nice thing about it is with my moderation that I had started in February, or in the early fall, like there were people that knew who I was just from that. So,
right.
Once again, there's that community overlay and they come and support. And
so what I'm taking from this is, like, let's say you live in a small community in a town and, there's a Lions Club, or that's what we have in Canada, or there's
right.
The Kinsman
the Elks,
Club. Yeah.
Lions Club. Yeah. We have that stuff.
So all of that kind of stuff is, usually old fellas who have some time on their hands and they volunteer because we can say that we want to have a baseball league, but we need someone to pull that together for us.
Yeah.
We need someone to go, okay, well, we have green jerseys and yellow jerseys and you wear these ones and there's 4 guys and there's 8 guys. Someone has to organize that. And that's what I attribute moderators to. They're sort of like the Kinsman Club. They are there to make sure that the events go smooth for the community, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I must say,
that's fair.
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and every other streamer out there, to you and all of them that are in our chat right now as well.
There's a ton of mods sitting in chat right now of
Yeah.
all sorts. They're not swords here, but they're swords somewhere.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And I had started, and I wish I could have kept it up. I was trying to do like Moderator Mondays, where once a month I could have like a all mod request, and nobody else can request, because I think
Right.
you guys really do deserve, a highlight at least. Now, from moderator to streamer, how do you think, because you started sort of on the back end as a moderator and seeing how things are going for, maybe some bigger streamers, and then you start your own, how do you think that may have affected how you went about your streaming journey?
That's interesting because I started my moderation journey with Harry Mack. Shout out Harry Mack official. If you in chat and you don't know who Harry Mack is, he's a freestyle rapper, and I would argue the best freestyle rapper that has ever done it.
I was just telling a friend that I have the moderator on for the best freestyle rapper who's ever done it. He took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, he's it's like watching I say he's a unicorn, but I normally I also say he's the unicorn. Like
Yeah.
there are no other unicorns.
Yeah.
There's nobody close to that, at least in the English language. There's lots of other people
Right.
in other countries, but like in English, he's the best.
He's the wordsmith.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But coming into that situation, and that was early in his streaming game, it was fun to see something that he had latched onto as a way to, once again, we said, like with musicians getting through the pandemic, he had started that Omegle Bars series on YouTube, and it was fascinating to watch that from an early time and see how that grew, and how he was, from a business standpoint, leaning into a pathway for growing his brand.
Right.
Now, I don't have any sort of talent the way Harry does, other than maybe technical, like 40% the level of proficiency that he has at what he does. But I am, at least I hope to think that what I do is at least engaging and mildly entertaining for the folks that are watching, or else I would assume that folks wouldn't come back. And people keep coming back to some degree.
Nice.
There's cycles of people in and out. Obviously, you get the regulars from a year ago are different from the regulars of today, and some, once again, there's some that have been here the whole time. But leaning into, like with what I do, I'm a variety streamer. I kind of have a lot of different stuff going on, and leaning into what people are responding to is what I try to do. If we find that a majority of people are into something, I'm going to lean into it and see where that goes. So we're finding new things all the time, and how we're going to entertain ourselves. It's really just as entertaining for me as it is for the folks that are watching, because
it's a two-way street.
It's not narcissistic to say, but I like laughing at stuff, and if I make myself laugh, that's hilarious. But if somebody else makes me laugh, that's way better.
Of course.
I'm constantly amused with myself. So
I have a quick question about that. How do you manage your expectations? You're a smart guy. I know the answer to this question, but how do you manage your expectations when you moderate for a guy like Harry Mack, and then you start your own stream? And like Harry Mack's got thousands of people sometimes watching him when he's on Twitch. I've seen. So it's like, how do you that's a tough world. I mean, I sit here back and watch a lot of streamers with hundreds of people. And I'm like, man, that would be awesome. It can be a little bit. So I just wanted to know how you kind of manage expectations. And obviously you're doing something quite different. But what's your goal on Twitch? And of course, is it not to be Harry Mack? But what is your goal on Twitch? Just to
That's a great question, and I have recently been thinking about that. Like, what is my goal here? Is it to continue to entertain, the 25 people that show up?
Yeah, it is.
or the 30 people, or sometimes the 10 people. Is that my goal? Like, at this point, I see these folks as, I've known these folks for months or over a year or two. For some of them,
multiple years,
and I definitely talk to them outside of the streams, not just what's happening in chat. We talk on Discord or whatever, which is really cool. And I consider some of these folks my friends. I really do. I know more about my moderators than I do probably about most other people in my life.
Yeah.
Outside of like 3 or 4 close friends, which is fascinating because I've spent more time with these folks uh, than anybody else in the past 2+ years,
Yeah.
which
And
is fascinating. Like Crochet Crazy here is saying, we take trips to Home Depot. Like I went to Home Depot one Sunday and I'm just like, we're going to stream that. And
live.
I'm wandering around Home Depot because
Right.
I was buying stuff for things to do on one of my streams.
Right. And can
Um,
we maybe transfer sort of over to that? Like, so you
we
started game
can.
streaming, and and during all of that, you said you were a variety streamer.
Yeah.
And I think the goal is for all of us. For me now, the goal is to make sure that I am there with those people as much as I can and also one quick thing about that, I went back to real life and I'm telling all the people about my so-called internet friends. I'm like, oh yeah, well,
Right.
this happened and that happened, and like it's kind of weird because now I'm sort of melding those two communities together a little bit. I'm trying to get my friends to come watch on YouTube of me
Yeah.
interviewing yourself or Juke or whoever that is, and they're
Right.
coming over to my house now. Some of these artists who have been streaming here, Danny the Hamilton and Human Juke and stuff like that. So it's like kind of melding those two communities has been really cool, and I'm looking forward to I'm really excited that we get to continue this after the pandemic is over.
Yeah. Like very, I am looking forward to meeting some of these folks in person.
Another
And
thing,
I have met some of these
yeah,
folks in person because I've traveled. I mean, hell, I traveled to Los Angeles last September, like 2021, to go to see a Harry Mack show.
yeah,
Like I flew there with a freaking respirator on, like for 14 hours inside the airport. Like I didn't want to take it off because I have little kids.
yeah.
So, but
And this is
I
the
had to
height
get
of
out
the
of the house. I was losing my mind,
Yeah, of course, of
and,
course.
one of the community members met me there, drove me all around for like 4 days, wouldn't let me pay for anything. Like, and it was like, it was great. And I, I don't know any close friends here that would do that. Like, hey man, can you pick me from the airport? He's like, oh, I got something going on, man. Like,
Right.
this guy dropped everything for me and was hauling me around. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. XF throwing it out. Jerry Noche. Dude's a legend.
Yeah, and same has happened at plenty of my back to life shows now. My IRL shows, like someone will come up and I've never seen their face, and
Right.
they'll go, hey, I'm like, hey man, how are you? And they'll go, oh, it's Followay, and I'm like, it's
Right.
Followay? Like, oh my goodness, you're here in my real life, and give them a hug,
You have a
like,
face. You have a face.
yeah, so cool. And that's happened multiple times, and I'm very grateful for that. Actually, I think that's one of my most favorite things about getting back to it is that like I actually can finally give these people a hug, Human Juke himself, and say thanks, man, for being there for me.
Yeah. And Juke is, Danny's on my list. The Risky Biscuit boys are on my list. And I mod for Risky Biscuit. I mod for Human Juke. Danny's a legend. I actually talked to him last night. We were supposed to talk last night for about 5 minutes just to talk about a programming project I'm working on for him. And we ended up talking for like an hour and a half, just, BSing.
Right.
Like, I don't, it's hilarious.
So what I meant to get to there was you're a variety streamer, but you've been not a couple months ago, I popped into your stream and you had Tinkercad open.
Yeah, Tinkercad. Let's go.
And you were making a feeder, I believe it was at the time, or modeling.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the feeder.
You're modeling a
So
feeder?
yeah, so Tinkercad, for those of you who don't know, is a 3D modeling program that's on the web. It's like for basically like Fisher Price of
Yep.
3D modeling. Like it's very simple. It's very easy to pick up if you've got a little bit of technical understanding of CAD or drafting or whatever. It's really easy to use. It's fun to use because you can get something done very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working on, I think I was designing I was designing some nesting boxes with a feeder underneath.
Yeah.
And this is for a stream I have called Pennsylvania.
That's what I was getting you to get at.
Yeah.
Shout out Pennsylvania. It is in the chat right now. If you're in the Twitch chat, go and check out on the link there, Pennsylvania.com. I'll have all those links in the YouTube video as well. But onward with that. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So Pennsylvania is this was a pandemic project. We got some chickens in August, the first August of the pandemic, and fascinating. Like they sent them in the mail. 1-day-old chicks came in the mail with like holes punched in the box and like a heating pack in them. It was amazing. I'm like, wow, you can send like live animals through the mail,
That
and
is wild.
they don't show up dead. Funny story on that one.
That is
So
hilarious.
when it happens, obviously they like it's like as fast as possible shipping.
Right.
And they say like the post office will call about live animals like first thing in the morning. They will call you. So they called it like 6 a.m. They're like, your chickens are here, and they sounded annoyed. I'm like, oh geez. So
You're like
you
I
can
have
go down there before they open to get them.
Well, first off, you have to go and check yourself and go, oh yeah, I have chickens. That's a question you have to answer.
Weird.
And then then you go down to the post office at 7 a.m. to collect them.
I go at 7 in the morning to get them, and I show up and I'm like, I go to the counter and I'm like, oh, I'm here to pick up my chickens. And the guy says, you're going to need to be more specific. I'm like, there's more than one. And I live in like a little town, like, it's not that many people.
Right.
He's like, yeah, we have 3 boxes back there.
High chicken dealership going on over there.
What's funny, I only ordered 4. I ended up with 5. That's a whole other story.
You jumped out of someone else's box.
Yeah. Oh, there was somebody else that had a box of 50 of them.
Holy Lord.
Yeah. So that person had to have been raising like meat birds. I just wanted eggs, That's all I was interested in.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, I got these chickens, and, I built this coop and all that sort of stuff out of just stuff I had laying around the house. I went to Lowe's and I said, hey man, like I went to the customer service. I'm like, hey man, do you have any of the like throwaway stuff you're like junking, like the slats that you put under the wood, not the wood, but the stuff you put the wood on, like those chunks of, pre-treated lumber. And he's like, oh yeah, it's out or it's around back. Just don't make a mess. Take whatever you want.
Right.
So I went back there and just loaded up on all the junk that I could possibly find and brought it all home and put together honestly a super sturdy chicken coop, because it's all like made to handle tons of lumber on top of it. I didn't spend that much money.
It's made out of railroad ties. Just
I mean, basically it's like, and stuff that's around town here where people are like have a dumpster or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's a good, nice piece of wood. I can use that.
Right.
Because chickens don't care.
And also we're doing cost per use here. Like it costs little to keep you, and I get eggs whatever you pick your eggs every couple days or.
No, I get like 5 to 7 eggs a day.
This is the most efficient.
It's a lot of eggs.
This is such an efficient food source, man.
It's crazy. Yeah. And the food is not that expensive, and they eat scraps. Like I give them all sorts of table scraps, which is great. But a couple of things that we've done with that is, on stream, well, I guess I should step back. So that all happened. I started putting together, and I wanted to put a camera out there so that I could keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Just to make sure there are no predators and all that kind of junk. So I started out with an old like baby monitor webcam that I had, and I just stuck it in the coop so I could see them at night to make sure nothing like broke in and like strangled them. Right. Because raccoons will do that. All sorts of stuff they'll just kill them. They won't do anything with them. Like it's spiteful murder for no reason.
Weird.
So yeah, it's super strange. Animals are weird. And ended up putting one in the outside. I'm like, why don't I just stream this? This is funny. Like I'll just put it out there, and like then I can have it up on this computer over here. Like I have another computer over here. I can just have it up over here and watch. And then it's actually recording. I don't have to buy a network video recorder.
Oh man.
If something happens, then it's on Twitch and I've got a record of it. Like I can go back and say like, why does this chicken get murdered? And then I can like rewind, look at the VOD and say like, oh geez, I just broadcast a chicken murder.
And you can also like viral clips are going to come out of that. If you do happen to get a snake go in there and just eat all of your chickens, that's a great TikTok video.
We got, we've had stuff happen in the stream for sure. Like a squirrel got in there once, and it's at that point where you're like, they kind of look at one another like, uh-oh, I froze there for a second. They look at each other like, what are you doing in here? And the squirrel looks at them like, what are you doing in here? I've come for your food.
Yeah.
And then that's the first time we kind of realized like, oh, chickens are dinosaurs. And they like full on went after this squirrel, and the squirrel went full crazy, like, oh my God. And it, took off around and went up the side and was trying to get out. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, chickens are terrifying. They're like little velociraptors.
So anyone who's
So
watching this on YouTube, they can go to
Pennsylvania.
twitch.com/Hennsylvania.
Or you can go to Hennsylvania.com. That's Henn. That's just like Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. That's
so
such a clever name.
It kind of, yeah. Honestly, I probably started streaming just because I thought of that and I'm like, that's pretty funny. I should market that somehow.
Start that channel.
Oops. Kick that thing. So it ended up growing from there. Community members started like gifting the stream, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then it turned into a thing where it was like, all right, I'm making a little bit of money on this, and so I took some of that, I reinvested it back in and got new stuff. I got some smart switches where I could control some lights and things like that. A couple community members sent new cameras to add cameras. So we now have 5 like 4K Amcrest all-weather cameras out there watching the chickens. So as it grew from there, I started writing code that allowed us to interface with OBS so that chat could change the camera views. That was kind of the first thing that we started messing around with, because I had never written Node.js code before, which was
I've never
fun
written
to do.
any. I've never written any code ever. You're so funny. You're so humble. You're like, well, I've never really. I was trying to get some code to automatically feed the chickens and kill the coyotes that were out there in my. I'm just like, you're so humble.
We have the automated sniper rifle with vision tracking. No, that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was fun to some of the folks in chat are throwing some of the commands from the Pennsylvania stream.
Yeah, I could see them there.
So it grew from there, from the cameras, and then I built a treat feeder, which allows chat to donate bits to drop treats on the chickens, so they can come, and we see that Pavlovian response of the chickens, doing their thing. It's pretty cool. I'm really happy with it. And we can actually show an example of that if you'd like. If you give me a second, I can.
You could also change your channel into AxsDeny the Science Guy, just kind of like Bill Nye, and just ride off of that, because this is the coolest shit I've ever heard, dude.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I like barely know what I'm doing, but it's all like, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, like Appalachia, so it's all very much redneck engineering, where it's pragmatic. It's pragmatic use of things that exist around you to solve problems.
Right.
And that's very much common in kind of those parts of that part of the world. We're seeing a little bit of lag, and that's me because I'm loading something. I apologize.
Okay,
this
cool.
computer is like,
I'll put my video back
going
on
crazy.
Then. It's all good.
Yeah, it's not you.
Last week. Cool.
So anyway, yeah. So I mean, this is all just pragmatic development and design. Like, use what you have to. Like,
and
it's
how long
the apocalypse scenario, right?
How long has Pennsylvania been up and running so far?
That's a good question. Mods, XAF, Crochet, do we know? I feel like it's been at least 9-10 months.
I am so out of the loop, dude.
Yeah. I feel like it's been a while. It's okay. Crochet says 9 months. Yeah. Go over there and say, like, follow age or whatever. I don't even know.
It's okay. I'm not following.
You know what? I can do that right now.
But I am
follow
following.
age. Oh, I don't have stream elements over there. Durr.
It's all good.
All right,
It's all good. I was just curious, but it's been up for, let's say 9 months. So what is my next question is, like, what is, we're going to start talking about chickens now. Forget Twitch.
Yeah, right.
What is the lifespan of a chicken, and how many eggs do you expect to get from one chicken in its lifespan?
Okay. So that's a good question. It does depend on the chicken itself, the breed, but most chickens live 5 to 8 years.
Okay.
Most of them, when they're young, and this might seem a little weird and gross, but think of it very much like I'm going to say a hen. Let's talk about hens, females.
Yes.
And some people don't know, there's like, chickens are the overall, like, we're humans,
Yeah.
and then there's roosters, which are males, and hens, which are females. Some people don't know that, which is surprising to me. But some people also don't know, and I find this a lot, they don't realize, like, you don't need a rooster to get eggs. And I get a lot of people like, well, how are you getting eggs? I'm like, well, you're a female and you lay an egg every 28 days.
Yes.
And that's not to be, like, rude. That's to say, like,
science.
That's what mammals do.
Yep.
And chickens lay an eggs. They just happen to be hard shell and external. Mm-hmm. But they do lay an egg about once a day when they're young. As they get older, just like humans, they it happens less frequently, and eventually it will stop.
Okay.
They normally, what happens in an agricultural standpoint, though, when they get to about 3 or 4 years, they are culled and become soup or whatever.
Nuggets.
That is not the case here. I am not a killer of any sort. I did grow up in the middle of nowhere. I was never a hunter, though, because I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Right. So they all have names for the stream. This is why I'm asking, is because now we have their community members, right?
Yeah.
So everyone is
they are. They're funny. They're the entertainment.
Right.
And I'm going to kick, while I'm talking, I'm going to kick over to the stream itself so you can take a look.
Okay. Let me put it on full screen over here for you too, so it's all you on the stream. Hold up.
Yeah,
we got a stupid stinger here in music.
Gotta have the music stinger.
All right, here we go. Then now you're full screen. Tell us about this.
Okay, so this is the 4cam setup right now. You can see it's going to be a little laggy because we got like 3 levels of misdirection here.
Yeah.
What we're looking at here is the camera we call it cam corner. This is one that's literally in the corner that looks out across what's called the run. Normally in a chicken area, you have what's called the run, and you have the coop. The coop is where they sleep, and then you have the nesting boxes. Normally the nesting boxes are inside the coop. I have external ones as well as one internal one.
Okay.
So I have commands that I've set up with a custom bot that I've written. This is 100% written by me. There's no stream element, stream whatever.
Firebot or any of that stuff.
Yeah, wrote it straight up, and I'm honestly like, I'm not proud of a lot of what I've done, but I'm very proud of this because this is something I built from scratch on my own, and I'm very happy with it.
It's hard for an artist or a creator or an inventor to be proud of themselves. So good for you. I want to say one quick thing off the bat. That shovel cover is brilliant.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The shovel cover. I don't know what it's covering, but there's 2 birds under it right now. It's a shovel, right? Upside down? What is that? Yeah.
It's not a shovel. Okay. What it is this is once again
piece of corrugated pipe.
Redneck engineering. Yes, this is a corrugated pipe that was left over from a construction project here in town.
Awesome.
I nabbed it because they threw it in the trash, and I cut it into quarters.
Perfect.
And I actually have pictures of that I can show. But it's a quarter of a pipe that is covering the feeder, so they can eat dry while it's raining and stays dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did cut the pipe on stream with an oscillating saw, and it was terrifying.
Okay, so and talk about a few of the other items that you've got here. So like that little run that's going up there, that grate thing.
Yeah.
What's that from?
Yeah. That is a rubber, like one of those Rubbermaid shelving systems that goes like in your closet.
That's what I thought.
It's just got a bunch of. Somebody's dropping treats here. I don't know who did it. It was Jason. So you're going to see right now what has happened. The camera has switched. Watch the treats fall.
Oh, wow. The birds all came as soon as they heard it. Whoa, dude, you have the coolest shit ever. You programmed that too?
Yeah, I actually built all of that and programmed all of it.
That is amazing. You are an absolute legend. That is amazing, dude. Pat yourself on the back. I'm blown away.
This is tons. Oh, you see that green thing in the like upper left there? That is the shell of a watermelon.
Okay.
They have turned it into like a 1/16 of an inch thick. It's incredible. They've eaten everything out of it. It's like a silicone bowl. I couldn't believe what they've done to that thing.
They'll eat the rind right to the skin.
Right to the skin. It's crazy. And sometimes they'll eat holes through it. It's incredible. They're great garbage disposal.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. So you ate most of that watermelon, then you threw what you had left over, and they just cleaned that thing right up.
Yeah, we had like cut out the inside of it, and they were just like, "Yeah, we'll eat that because we're disgusting."
Can I ask you about? Can I ask you about? This has happened at a number of factory farms recently. Actually, King Cole ducks here where I live had it happen, but there was an avian flu there. So, is there a certain thing you have to do to keep them clean or safe, or just feeding them well and keeping them well and natural? Is there any sort of special things you need to take care of for these guys? And
yeah, look.
gals,
here's the thing.
These gals, I should say.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing with like these animals. I think one of the things that we have to remember, and I try to remember, is it's easiest to not think of them as pets because they're so fragile.
Right.
They're so very fragile. They get sick, and I had a sick bird recently, and I wasn't sure that she was going to make it. Like, it was a little stressful because she got something called sour crop, which she's literally like fermenting inside of her crop, which is like the area where they grind their food up.
Yep.
So, I picked her up and a bunch of stuff dumped out of her, the clear fluid, and it's alcohol.
Wow.
She was making alcohol
in her gullet, basically.
Yeah, in her crop, which is right in front. And she had so I had to isolate her, and because it's a fungus that happens, and I literally had to go to the Walgreens and get like monostat,
like a fungicide,
fungicide, and force it down her throat, and couldn't give her food, couldn't give her water
because it would grow again.
Yeah, for like 3 days, she didn't give anything.
So, dude, how much research have you done on these birds? You must have spent.
That's hilarious that you would ask that, because I haven't done that much research on birds. It's my daughter that did this.
Okay.
She was basically, the pandemic happened, and she was home from school. She was home for a year and a half, and we had nothing for her to do because we were working, and she would be done with school at like 3:00, 2:30. And we're like, okay, yeah, whatever. We've got these like 4 things that you can watch on YouTube, and that's it, and you can do that for an hour and a half. And she found this lady, Becky, on YouTube, who is a chicken, and she's got hundreds and hundreds of videos, and my daughter watched all of them and knows everything. So honestly, if I don't know, I know through osmosis of like her telling me. But if I don't know, I ask her. She's like, well, Becky says, and and we have the jokes of the things that she always goes to, like diatomaceous earth solves everything. So you'll see like in the coop, when you're looking at the coop cam, like there's white stuff all over the walls, and that's diatomaceous earth, and it keeps mites down and all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. It's been a great project, but I can if I change my cam again, I can show you real quick a couple things.
All right. Let me put you on full screen again.
Yeah, no worries.
There's just a stinger. I automated that. Now I don't need it.
Yeah, right. It's great.
Okay, you're full screen, but it's cutting some stuff off. But I think we see most of it.
Yeah, that's okay. It's set to be like that. So we've got this is the outside of it. Like it looks good on stream, but it's super janky. Like because it's made of junk that I had laying around.
But I love that
pieces that I had. So this is the outside of the coop. I'm just going to delete stuff as I move forward. This is a roof. Thank you, Crochet Crazy, who paid for this roof. Donated, I think, like $80 for me to put a new roof on this thing because the old one started leaking. That killer. So there, for example, there's an egg box. There's 2 eggs in there. There's a blue egg and a brown egg. And this is set up so that I can have external access to the eggs, when they're laid. I don't have to go inside to get them.
Becky told you that.
So, yeah, she did.
So that's the diatomaceous earth, or is that their waste?
What did you say?
Sorry, is that the diatomaceous earth, or is that their waste that I'm seeing?
No, this is all just these are pine shavings.
Okay.
From Tractor Supply. They sell big bales of them.
Yeah.
It's like $5 for a bale of it, and it's a huge amount. It's very, very compressed.
What is that?
It's actually
blue
a pain in the
stuff?
butt to uncompress. But it makes it easy to clean up all the feces.
Yeah, of course. So that's important. You have to keep that clean because they will get sick on. Will they get foot to mouth? Chickens?
No, so they can get something called bumblefoot, where they'll get just messed up feet. But that's normally from being wet. What they can get from too much feces being in there is they get respiratory infections, which we would call bird flu.
Right.
You can use diatomaceous earth in lots of things. Carrie K is asking in chat. Good to see you, Carrie K. Diatomaceous earth there are 2 types of it. There's like a industrial grade and there's a food grade. You can actually ingest diatomaceous earth, and to get rid of, if you have worms or something.
I've seen it in supplements.
You have a tapeworm or something, it'll kill anything because it's like glass for tiny little insects and things like that.
Wow.
So what we're looking at here is this is the inside of the roost. If you're at Pennsylvania.com, actually I can switch this over, and that's the cam coop. That's not a great look, but this is the other side of that. And you'll see all the bedding on the bottom. That's all the pine chips. If I take that away, what I did was when I built this thing, those 2 from the outside, there's 2 large doors, bay doors that open. And you'll see here, I have what I call a 0 edge. And what I have is I have a giant push broom, and I just put my broom the whole way in, and I can pull it all out. There's no shoveling. It just comes right out onto a tarp. I haul it out and I put it in my waste, and it's gone.
You're a genius, sir.
Yeah, I'm not a genius. I say there's 2 things I say. give a difficult task to a lazy person and they'll find an easier way to do it,
Yes.
or work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Right.
Efficiency is so key.
Right.
Okay, so there's
Yeah.
a cam.
It's get it done. So this is an outside cam as well as a like janky ventilation on the outside.
Mhm.
And I think that might be the last one. This crappy window I made, but it does the job. Like, I don't care.
Of course.
Nothing can get in there.
Yep.
And then let's look out. So this is the inside of the run. This is one of the corners.
Talk to me about that swing. I've been so curious since I saw it.
What was the thing again? I'm sorry.
Talk to me about the swing. Do birds like to go on swings?
Look, that's a thing in chat. Like, we have been.
Has anyone?
We have definitely been like cheering on the use of the swing. You can keep me up here for just a second. I'm going back.
Yeah.
Boy, everybody wants to see the chickens use that swing. We've only seen them do it like twice.
Oh, that's gold.
And it's like everybody's waiting for it to happen. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
So the square footage of this thing, it's about 8 by 16. It's a pretty large area considering the recommendations for a chicken is 1.5 square feet.
Wow.
Which is scandalous, if you ask me. But criminal.
Well, is that like? Well, that's because it's the same as they're just getting the most efficient, right? So the Food Drug Administration or Environmental Administration goes, "That's enough," and they go, "Cool." Wow.
That's enough for them to move around and get a little bit of exercise.
That's insane.
So this is just kind of the corner here. We do have, see, I didn't put anything else in that one. Let me just talk about that. So we do have a waterer in there that we'll see a picture of later that allows me to put 3.5 gallons of water in it. So I don't have to constantly be filling water, which is nice. And tons of electronics, which we can look at in a second here. Talking about security, big deal when you're doing chickens. You don't want predators getting in there. That's a massive thing. It's not so much the birds getting out, it's things getting in. And raccoons specifically are super duper smart. They have thumbs. They can undo latches. You need multiple levels of misdirection to confuse them and, not let them get in. So I've got multiple ways to lock this stuff. This is just a close up of the cheap door stop. And then I've got a pin in there that, keeps the door from opening, even if they open the stop there. But around the outside of it, around the outside. I can never not say that twice. Thanks, Eminem. Around the outside, I have buried not vertically, but horizontally away from the edge of the coop, chicken wire. And you put that under the dirt because animals will come up to the fence, look, see the chickens. They want to get in. They start digging down to go underneath. They hit the wire. And all they do is they move left or right. They're too dumb to back up a foot and try again.
Right.
So that's how you keep them out. And then it's actually what you're seeing, this kind of netting or this really tight woven metal mesh here. That's called hardware cloth. That's not chicken wire. It's called hardware cloth. Chicken wire has a much larger opening.
And it's like much
and then
more
on
flimsy.
top we have a netting that keeps birds of prey out. Because hawks will come and take a chicken away.
So
especially you see people that are free, letting them in their yard, they'll get taken for sure. And we have hawks in our neighborhood.
Right. So all of this is on, I'm looking at your website right now is what you're showing us. So all of this information is on Hensylvania.com. Is that what we're saying?
It's not. Hensylvania.com right now just redirects to the Twitch stream. I am going to put all this stuff on Hensylvania.com and embed the stream at some point.
Okay.
It's just hours in the day sort of situation.
Does the stream run 24/7 or do you shut it down?
The stream runs 24/7 unless something like there's a power outage or, you know what happens is I'm away and something goes down and I'm like, oh, damn it.
Then you got to wait to get home to fix it. I hear you. You don't have a robot to do that for you yet?
What's that? Yeah. It's funny. I'm like considering like, okay, if I get a battery backup system, and then I'm thinking like, well, if the power goes out, the internet goes out. So it doesn't matter if the computer is up. Yeah, absolutely. So there's four total nesting boxes. This is where the ladies lay their eggs. This is great. They're outside now rather than in the coop, and I can walk in and see what they're doing. Occasionally we get something called a hen that's broody. You may have heard the term brooding. A brooding teenager. Okay. Means they're kind of inwardly facing and kind of sullen and down. Okay. Very serious. And this comes from the world of chickens. They get broody. Hens, what happens is they want to hatch eggs And even if they don't have a rooster, they will get broody and they will go in the nesting boxes and they will sit on eggs and they will sit on them for weeks. I currently have a hen that's been in there for over a month. She comes out occasionally to get some water and food, but they can literally die being broody. So
Wow.
you have to keep an eye on them. They will stop eventually. They just kind of snap out of it. But it's fascinating to watch this happen.
When you bought the chicks, I think I see a little ring on the left foot of that chicken.
Yeah,
Are they all marked?
So I have 9 chickens total. 4 of them are the same breed, so they're hard to tell apart.
Okay.
So they make these little little leg bands. I actually have some right here. You just leave the thing full screen. I can show this. I'll flip over, and they look like this. They're these little plastic rings. They just have a little catch on them, and they're numbered. So I just use different colors. I actually bought some that have RFID tags in them.
Oh, awesome!
That's for a future project.
Yeah. No doubt.
I want to put sensors out there so I know where they are in the coop. Like if one goes into the nesting box, I can have the bot say Fluttershy is in nesting box number 2 or something like that.
Of course. And do you have a cam in
ridiculous.
Do you have a cam in that box?
Say again?
Do you have a cam in that nesting box behind that bird right there?
We don't yet. I do have a cam sitting here in front of me that needs to be put in the coop. It's on the list of things in all my copious spare time.
Well, dude, this is fascinating. Like when you told me, oh, I just want to talk to you about a little bit about Pennsylvania. First, I was like, okay, that's the best name ever, and I knew you were dealing with a chicken coop because I'd seen the CAD, and I'm just like, I'm floored right now, dude. This is amazing and very sustainable. Like this is a good way and like, can I ask you, I know you're doing a stream and stuff, but does this require any electricity or any, like, what is the level of, you built it with junk, what's it cost to keep these birds?
It's not that bad, honestly. I mean, look, if I didn't have all this stuff happening, like there would be zero electricity.
Yeah.
I'm running a stream, so it's costing me. I've got cameras and I've got networking gear and I've got this, machine over here that's running 24/7. So, that's happening. But I mean, people have been very generous with tipping, subscribing, and offsetting all of that. Basically, I'm zero or slightly ahead. I try to put the money back in because I don't like to have the profit on top of it. It just feels a little weird.
Well, you can use it for another chicken or for, whatever purposes you might need for, it always can go back into the stream, I think. And you know what? You're turning it into sustainable food for your family. You're not supporting factory farming where they are allowing a bird to have 1.5 square feet of life. That is insanity, right? It's like, so
and for those in chat that don't know, like, with some of these factory farms where they're raising, like when you buy chicken breasts, for example, like those giant chicken breasts,
they can't even walk.
Those birds are 6 weeks old. They grow that fast. They grow so fast, some of them, that their legs break. They can't even stand because they're so weak because they're only 6 weeks old, and they become so heavy so quickly that they fall over and they're just broken because they've been bred to be like that and culled at 6 weeks. It's incredible. Yeah. Now I'm an animal lover, but I'm also a meat eater.
Right.
But if I'm going to eat meat, I try to do it in a way that like makes sense. And this is like at least something where I know these 9 birds are, these 9 birds are living a hella good life.
Hell yeah. They're movie stars. What?
Essentially.
they're literally Hollywood stars. But
I'm just cycling through some here while we're talking. So
yeah, no worries. That's what I saw you developing on the Tinkercad, was that exact system. So you obviously had some 3-inch pipe and some stuff, and you were
good eye.
Yeah, you were eyeing that. You were visualizing this on the CAD program and making sure everything would fit together. So it's just very fascinating how I caught that stream and I was like,
it just happened to.
And then now I see it coming to fruition. It's like wild to see from A to B for me. Very cool, man.
This thing right here, and this is kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. This is the treat feeder, and this is, let's not look at the power because that looks ugly. That is not unsafe. It just looks unsafe.
Right. Mine look like that too. I love the zip ties.
Yeah, look, my life is zip ties
Me too.
out in this thing. So this is the view of with a treat feeder that we looked at that was running earlier. It's just a giant Tupperware over top of it to keep it watertight.
Mm-hmm.
It sits on one of those Rubbermaid things
Mm-hmm.
that I was talking about earlier, and we'll just look through some of the pictures here, and you can see this is the hopper on top that holds all the feed. This is just scratch green. $15 a bag from Trader Joe's or something, or not Trader Joe's, Tractor Supply.
Right.
The whole thing is driven. Interestingly, like I did not do wiring with a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino.
Okay.
Which are tiny computers that people use a lot for things like this. I simply bought a smart switch that's built by a company called TP-Link.
Yep.
They make these Casa brand, on-off switches. People use them for lights and things.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about the TP-Link brand is you can use Node.js JavaScript to talk to them directly on your own network. So it doesn't have to go out and say like, hey, casa.com, talk back to my registered device and turn it on.
Right.
So these will work forever, regardless of whether or not that company stays in business. I can talk to them directly, straight from OBS, straight from my custom bot.
Brilliant.
So that's what's turning this thing on and off. And that's what my bot does. It says, hey, somebody gave 33 cents or bits, 33 bits, 50 bits, 100 bits, turn this smart switch on for X seconds based on what they donated.
Whoa.
So and
the
then
more they
this
give,
is just a
the longer
crappy
hopper stays open. Sorry, the more they give, the longer the hopper stays open, basically.
Correct. And it scales. So like the more you do, the more you get. It's not like exactly a multiplier. So 33 cents, like 100 bits is way more than doing 33 three times.
Right.
So there's the camera that looks down at it, and here, this is what drives it. It's an old Black & Decker driver,
dude.
Like a screwdriver.
You are brilliant.
Yeah,
I love this MacGyver shit, dude. This is amazing.
It's 100% MacGyver. Yeah, and you know what? As a kid, MacGyver was like my idol,
a hero. Yeah.
I got a Swiss Army knife when I was 12 for Christmas, and I thought I was like God.
Yeah,
and then I nearly cut my pinky off.
Right.
I still don't have feeling in the top part of my pinky where I cut myself. It was straight to the bone. Cut the, I'm more MacGruber than MacGyver. That's true, XF.
Have you seen that yet? I haven't watched it. I would like to.
I haven't seen the show. I've seen the movie.
Oh, I've seen the movie too, but the show is. I'm a big Will Forte fan. So
you washed that celery, right?
Yeah.
I didn't wash it. So if you look in the middle here, one of the other things that we've done is my stream, AxsDeny, we had a goal to get a 3D printer. Right. And that's one of the things we did. And this is what I made with it, a coupler here to attach to the auger that's inside this thing that drives the feed out. So it worked out perfectly.
I don't know if you know, but I'm also a huge 3D printer fan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have a couple here. I print a lot of things, and that's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. So onward.
We should definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
So this is the underside. So you'll see up here is like the camera that we were looking at, and this is where the treats fall out here in the middle there.
So as soon as they see that driver start turning, they start bolting over that way.
Yeah, it's a 100% Pavlovian response they have to this thing. It took them a while to get used to the sound because it scared them the first, half dozen, 10 times.
Right.
And then, they would just scatter. And now it's this massive Pavlovian response, and people love it. Roxas Panda was in there today. He was like, man, that never gets old, does it? When they zoom into frame. Yeah. It's really funny to watch. And I think that's so here it is naked. Here's the whole thing. It looks really crappy.
No, dude, this is amazing. Does the job. It's amazing. So cool. Like I love this stuff, dude. Like, I don't know if you know, I built a streaming case where I have like all the computer and mixer and video all in, and I ported everything outside. But this kind of stuff really turns my crank, dude. I'm like so excited. I'm seriously
staying on brand here. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like, think about it. Like if you look closely here at this, like this picture, let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Can I do that? I don't even know if it'll allow me to do that. I don't know how to work things. Yeah, I don't know how to resize this. Anyway, it's like there's an Ace paint stick there that I'm using.
I saw that earlier.
The inside of it is literally an old political yard sign that I had because it was made out of plastic, like
Yep.
hard corrugated plastic. I'm like,
Yep.
this is perfect. Stuff will slide
right
right
down.
along it. So
Yeah.
I cut it with a knife and, hot glued it in place. Really the only thing that I bought from this whole thing, because the driver was a gift from like years and years ago. I didn't buy that. The camera I bought, but that was for my kid when she was a baby. I bought the auger, the drill bit that's in the middle that drives it all, and that was like $27. I think that's all that I paid for from this.
Pay attention,
this
people.
setup.
Pay attention, like everyone who wants to do something and they are worried about costing too much. And you know what? The aesthetics mean nothing to me. The fact that it's functional is the most important thing, and the fact that it's also functional and it's providing so much entertainment. It's just
really entertaining.
Yeah, dude, this is brilliant stuff. I love it. I really,
it's a good time. So I've had a great time just working on it. It's been tons and tons of fun to make this happen, and I've had a lot of support from the chat that that comes from my stream, my personal stream, as well as the folks that have kind of stumbled into the Pennsylvania stream, and they've been very generous with their time and their money, because there's some chickens, man. That's all they are, but they're offering some entertainment.
Absolutely.
These Amcrest cameras that are out there, I bought one of these. And chat has been very, very, very generous with their time and money.
Yeah.
I'm just flipping through this quickly because I don't want to overtake too much of this. And here's a shot of like my shed where the networking is happening.
Oh my goodness.
So the cameras are power over Ethernet, which means I don't have to have a power strip out there to keep them powered, which is nice. I'm only running one line, which is wonderful. And this kind of, like, for those tech nerds out there that are interested in this, I use OBS to stream. I have written a Node.js bot that talks via WebSockets to OBS. I'm using an NPM package called TMI.js, that is Twitch messaging interface that allows me to listen to Twitch for things like bits and for chat commands and things like that. And the treat feeder and the lights are powered via chat and via that Node bot. And then all the networking and power is what you're seeing here. It's all power over Ethernet.
So at nighttime, if someone comes in and watches and they can just turn on the lights to see what's going on? Or how's that?
So no, we have commands that the moderators can put the girls to bed. There's literally an exclamation point bedtime command.
Okay.
That will cycle the lights off in the coop. And then what that also does is it turns off the treat feeder. So, and we have a little overlay on the screen that says, like, the treat feeder is currently offline.
Okay.
And not available for you. People can still do it, but it's not going to do anything.
Right.
That's just like,
it's bedtime. We don't be waking up the girls and throwing Doritos at them.
Yeah, we've tried that. They don't. Sometimes if they're not quite asleep, some of them will come out. But if they're asleep, they don't even hear it. They're not smart animals, unfortunately. I hate to say that about animals, but they're not very smart.
They're just dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're not smart. I hate to keep saying that, but they are not.
Right.
So this is a picture of the waterer that I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
It's got 3.5 gallons of water and don't have to mess around with it. And we've got Mary Peepins here in the foreground. The white one is Peeper, which my daughter named, and that looks like that's Fluttershy right there. And Little Blue is in the back.
Yeah. And
we call them Old Chat and New Chat because the first set of chickens were the five originals, and then we got new chickens this past spring, and we call them New Chat, just like we do in regular streams. So,
right.
And that's the $5 tour, I guess, of the coop.
My goodness.
That's Pennsylvania.com, y'all.
That is amazing. I'm gonna just bring it back to the screen here, but
absolutely.
Oh man, you have floored me today. I am blown away by this. I love it because I've seen a few other ones, and I'm sure maybe you were inspired by a few other ones. Turtles and Chill, you might have seen before.
Yeah, I've definitely seen them. Dash Ducks. The other one that we don't talk about, Our Chicken Life.
Okay, the Hoot Suite where there's like an owl box or something. I forget what it's called.
There's a ton of them. The otter one is amazing. There's a whole bunch of animals, and I was very excited when they actually added the
category.
animals.
Yeah.
The animals section that wasn't there until very, very recently.
Yeah,
The animals category,
absolutely.
which was really annoying, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's nice
Um,
now that you can go to it. I don't know what what were you putting it under before, in real life or 24 hours,
what
or
was it before?
it doesn't matter, but it's just nice that I can go and find that now. Like, it's nice that
Yeah,
there's a,
they're all clustered together. And you know what I was saying earlier when we were talking about streaming, just in general, that's the problem with YouTube. For me, from a streaming standpoint, is they are doing a lot on YouTube. There's a lot going on. You've got shorts, you've got archived stuff that's just always regular YouTube basically, and then you've got the live stuff. And there's no great communal way to search that stuff and have it compartmentalized where you can build that community.
right.
And having those categories that are that allow you to put together kind of circles of crossover chat and things like that are important, and it's just not there on YouTube
Yeah.
yet.
I think YouTube is strictly for videos on demand. I think it's a lot more of a learning thing, and this is a lot more of an entertainment thing. A
Yeah.
lot of people go to YouTube to figure out how to do things, but if I want to go for entertainment purposes, I will go and watch a guy make a chicken coop in Tinkercad. I'm getting education at the same time, but I'm also joking around with them and saying, "Wow, I do that too. How did you do this? Wow, you're really good at using this software, etc., etc."
Yeah.
But I think parlaying what you've done as a software team leader into like these cool, like not only moderating and writing bots and helping other streamers, but also creating this whole system you have here. Like, I have a whole newfound respect for you. I don't hope that doesn't. I hope that's a compliment. But
I'll
it's
take
like
it.
I already had
I
a level of respect for you, and now I'm like, holy shit, man, this is so cool. Like,
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, because I am really proud of this. And it's funny because, like, when I tell people about this that aren't already in the know,
yeah,
I get a lot of like, what?
or cool,
Why?
or they go cool.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that? I'm
Do you
like,
have any idea what the amount of effort this takes to like program
yeah.
a custom bot to feed chickens on a Friday night while people are at their like that's just it's
Well,
very
it's really
cool.
funny too, because I'll be sitting in the backyard, and we have like a swing set back there and stuff for the kids, and I'll be sitting out there with the kids, and I'll hear whir, the thing turns on. I'm like, oh, somebody's treating the ladies.
We just got a couple bits for the chickies.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I know based on how long it was on, I was like, oh, that was 33 bits or whatever.
You have the timing down Pavlovian as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's funny, because I had recently adjusted them. We had it's funny too, because when it messes up, I feel bad about it, even if it's like 33 cents. I'm like, oh man. So I'll like get on my phone and I'll like trigger it manually, and I'll do way more than it should,
Yeah,
because I feel bad that it didn't work quite right.
Right.
Because we did have some issues there for a while with that coupler, that 3D printer coupler that I showed. It was kind of a terrible system before that, and works really well now that I 3D printed it.
Yeah.
But there was something jammed in the auger recently, and the driver wouldn't go. So I had to empty the whole thing. And people watched that while they were out there, and they're always saying like, hey, it's Axs's legs, because they can't see me because the way the cameras are positioned.
Right. One quick question: that driver did you rig it up to be an AC or DC adapter, or is it running on a battery out there?
Fascinating. Good question. So the way that those work is they use those like actually I have one right here.
Oh, okay. 9-volt batteries?
No, so they normally run on these things, these Black & Decker Versa packs.
Yep.
Somebody's treating the chickens right now. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. So they run on these things. So what I did was I just looked up. I'm like, okay, what are these things? Oh, okay, these are 3.6 volt DCs. It runs on 2 of those. So we're looking at 7.2 volts DC. I went on Amazon and I found these amazing multi adjustable DC power packs.
Okay.
And that was that thing where I was like, don't look at that. It's safe.
Yeah, but I want to know
bad.
about that, because I need to know this. I'm trying to learn this stuff myself. So keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So that thing is just a regular DC power pack, wall wart, you might call it.
Yep.
But it's got a dial on it where you can change it to like 1.5,
Okay.
3.6, 5, all the way up to like 18 volt. So it's dialable to what you need, and it comes with like 15 different tips.
Right.
So it'll fit any barrel connector
that's
that
so
you
great.
need.
Yeah.
And
I've
so
never
what
seen
I
it.
did was I took the driver apart, I looked at it, I basically just hacked off the battery adapter, soldered 2 wires to it,
Hmm.
and then put those wires into the one of the adapters. The adapters they send actually has ones where you can put 2 wires in
Yep.
and like screw
We
them
saw
down.
them, the green ones.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, that's 100% what I did, and it works great.
It's
And it
brilliant.
was like $13 or something, like
Yep.
very cheap.
Awesome,
Uh,
because you don't want to be going out there and changing the battery, and that's like this is just I. The reason I asked that is because I'm like, this guy's smart enough to make this. He's not going out there to change that battery every 6 hours or.
No, that's I wouldn't say smart. I'd say lazy enough. Yeah, that would suck. I despise battery systems because power is dumb.
Yeah.
I understand power to like electricity to a degree, but I feel like no matter how many times I'm like, okay, well, you've got the pipe and then you've got the width and then you've got the like, how much is going
Flow.
through the flow,
Yeah.
like the whole
Yeah.
thing. I always get them
Me
confused and I
too.
can't keep them straight in my head. And that's just like,
Voltage, amperage, thisage,
yeah.
thatage.
What's
Yeah.
the ohms and all that junk? Like
Yeah.
I can't keep it straight.
Right.
I'm not an electrician. If I need to, I look it up when I need to, and then I will immediately forget it.
Yeah.
But if I can buy, Chem Janet, like
I'm
not lazy, efficient.
exactly.
I don't have room for that. I'm 44 years old. I'm not a sponge anymore. Like my 4-year-old,
Yeah.
he remembers everything. I do not. I
Right.
don't have room for it.
No, I totally
So
understand.
I am fully on the board of also like, and this is good for everybody in chat, regardless of what we're talking about here. If somebody asks you something and you don't know, tell them you don't know,
Yeah.
but say, I don't know, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you.
That's the
Like
sales
there's
thing.
so much
Yeah.
value in that, and people respect that. Like I use that at work all the time. It's like, I can't answer that for you right now, but I know who can. So I will go find out for you and I will report back to you what I don't know. This is a gap in what I know, and I'm going to fix that.
Well, I think that what's so impressive about what you're doing is not only are you doing the software side, you're building the hardware pieces as well. You're building the actual.
I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, and like so to be able to do both of those makes you a pretty special dude, man. And you have actually floored me today. I had no idea what I was getting into, and this is friggin' awesome. And I will be watching, and I will be showing all my friends Pennsylvania. And
Yeah, let's go.
yeah, man, I'm super stoked.
Bring your bits.
Yeah, yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
it's and to be fair, like people do. I don't. There's not a ton of people that are in there like constantly like just chatting it up and like doing whatever. But it's a passive stream, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a window open.
Yep.
People have it on a second monitor or a third monitor, and it's just there. And if you need a quick dopamine hit, you dump 33 cents or 50 cents or $1 at this thing, and the birds do their thing like they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny to watch, and it's fun. And it,
Family
they're
friendly.
super happy to get the treats.
I think it's very family friendly, and if you get that website going where
Yeah.
you showed your build, I think that's going to be so great for families to be able to go ahead and do this project themselves. I mean, you might be able to put a little booklet together like Becky over there on YouTube.
Yeah, let's go, Becky. Get it. Chem Janet says refer to Wildlife Cam. Yeah, I'm aware of Wildlife Cam. They're great. They have a really nice setup, but theirs just kind of like wide open. It's just like, we put a plate of food on the ground and like raccoons or whatever show up. But it's mostly night vision stuff with them.
Right.
Because it's like, they're nocturnal animals that come out. You get some stuff during the day, but not as much.
Well, also,
I wanted this to be more interactive where people could do stuff. Like we can turn the lights on and off. We can, throw the bits to get the treats. We can change the camera views, all that sort of stuff. So I really wanted it to be interactive, and I want to add more of that stuff. I do want to do more. It's just, hours in the day. I've got a family. I'm working literally working 4 jobs if you count streaming as a job.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a lot.
Well, I think that there's a quick marketing thing. It's AxsDeny, the science guy, and you do the tutorial of how you built that. You talk about how, no, we're not using Arduino. You're doing this. Everything that you just told us here is like totally a sweet package that a family could sort of purchase and like do together and make a sustainable living and make the world a better place. Less, better quality food and cleaner and so on and so forth. So I think you've really opened a lot of people's eyes, and I hope people watch this, and I hope they go over to Pennsylvania.com, and I'm sure you're going to grow that as you will. So,
yeah, I appreciate that, man. And, people don't have to take it to this like insane hyper focus extreme that I've taken it to.
Of course.
You can stop at just like getting scrap junk and putting together a chicken coop that is safe and doing what you're saying, just providing some providing some eggs for your family.
Yeah.
Chickens are $2.99 if you buy them as chicks. If you buy them as adults, they're $15 a piece. Which eggs are what, $4 a dozen now.
Yeah.
One bird will make a dozen eggs in 2 weeks. You've paid that chicken off in what, 2 months tops.
Yeah.
So
tops. Yeah, and then it's just all gravy after that. Not chicken gravy.
It's free eggs. And then, well, eventually, if you're of that
gravy,
mindset, they become food for you.
You harvest, yes,
so,
of course.
Yeah. It's not my gig, but and I say that, like, what happens if one of them gets sick, like really sick? And I do tell myself like that, like, this is not a veterinarian situation.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, like,
no, it's just life. You can't be spending $4,000 to save your chicken.
Yeah.
Then that $2.99 becomes $4,000 and $2.99, and it's not worth it anymore.
And you could say that about a lot of animals too, but I do try to keep it at arm's length. I do try to keep them at arm's length to a degree that they are not pets.
Right.
They are to a degree. I do enjoy them, but I'm not out there snuggling with them, and they're not sleeping in bed with me like my dog is.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't care about me. They don't know who I am.
Exactly. Yeah. No, there's a big difference there. A sentient animal versus, like, something with, like, thoughts and emotions.
Yeah. I mean, I would never eat these birds. That would be a little weird because I'm close enough that way with them. That would just be weird. But if I had to put, I have never killed an animal in my life, but I'd like to think that if I had to, I would do it just to put one of these poor animals out of their misery.
If a chicken gets sick, you don't give a chicken noodle soup.
Well, that's the thing. And it's less, and I think less about them getting sick and more like getting hurt or like, getting attacked by something or whatever. Yeah. It's just, and this is the nasty side of, like, owning any animal, right? Like, at what point do you keep going and do you do the humane thing?
Right. Yeah, 100%. Well, I think you're doing a very humane thing, man. And I appreciate you coming on here, and I appreciate you giving us all this education. I literally think there should be a little, like, when you do, like, tips in the stream, there should be a music thing. I'll make it. It goes, AxsDeny, the science guy, whatever that Bill Nye thing is. Just rip that off. It'd be so funny.
Let's go.
Because you're a scientist, dude. You're an engineer. You're a scientist. You're doing all of this, and, like, I really resonate with all that. So I appreciate having you on, and thank you for all your moderation and love and all your Twitch community building and guiding. All that is super important to me, and that's why I really wanted to have you on here today. Say thank you to you and shed a little light on the fact that you guys are so important to us. And everyone here who is my moderator, you're all important to me, So, dude, thank you very much for your time. And I think we'll do this.
Thanks, Kev.
We'll do this again because I want to check in with you and see how things are going in the future and what. So, but until then,
I can talk forever. I'm super happy to be on and about any sort of a situation that you want to go over. I'm more than happy to talk about whatever. So
right on. Well,
you let me know anytime, my friend.
And you're well spoken too, so I will make sure we do that again. But until next time, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna wrap this baby up, and we're gonna raid somebody. Do you have any raid suggestions right now?
Well,
type it in chat even for us, whatever works.
That's a good question. Let me take a look here real quick.
Yeah,
we can. I was going to say raid me because I was going to go on and play some Madverse City, but I'm not ready for that yet.
No, we can do that.
You know what? Let's go to Danny, Human Juke 81.
Cool. We will do that. Sounds good. I'm going to close out this show, and then we'll go do that raid.
Dope.
All right, dude. I'm going to let you go. I got to hang up the call just to do this closer here, and then we'll see you over at Danny's.
All right. We'll see you there. Thanks, everybody.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. And another one does, and another one does, another one bites the dust. We made it, guys. Thank you for being here. That was so fascinating. I'm blown away. I'm still like, what the heck just happened? We got so much information. I could have fixed this camera, sorry. We got so much information about birds, feeding birds, bird disease, how to keep them safe, bird predators. And I was like, well, we'll go talk about moderation. And then we got into Hensel. That was wild. I had so much fun. That was so amazing. So thank you guys for hanging out here live on Twitch. We broke the fourth wall many, many times. But yeah, everyone here who's from Axis community, obviously you know all about this stuff, and thank you for hanging out with us. I just learned all of this, and I'm like my jaw was on the floor half the time. Everyone who's watching on YouTube, you should come over to Twitch because it's a great family of people and it's just awesome. So come make that happen. It's Kev from the Bunker. Axis is AxsDeny at AxsDeny, and that's for everything: Twitch, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. Hensylvania.com, twitch.com/Hensylvania. All of the links will be in the YouTube description. All of the links that I just mentioned are in chat right now on Twitch. That's about it. If you want to support the channel, you can go to Patreon. I put podcasts and live sessions up of other musicians and other streamers and creatives all the time on my YouTube channel, and I do it for $0, and I spend a lot of time and effort on that. So the Patreon is there. I think it's $3 if you want to support the YouTube channel. That'd be super awesome. You can also support by just hitting the subscribe button, hit the like button, sharing with your friends. There's a merch link there. There's a couple affiliate links for learning instruments and stuff. All of this stuff that I don't usually promote. But yeah, if I ever want to make a buck from the podcast and stuff, there's all the links below. You guys can use them. Yeah, that's about it, I guess. I'm super sweaty. It's hot in here. The lights are on. I'm going to turn them off. But until next week, my favorite saying every time, keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise. I love you guys. Thank you.